Yo, yo, yo. Hey, what's good? Don Peter Gentleman here. You know, gonna catch y'all on my morning walks, my midday walks. It's been a minute. Well, it's been a minute on live. Actually, if you go to my new YouTube channel, I am Don P. On YouTube, I am Don P. Literally, and while I was in here, I was thinking last night and this morning on like a lot of different truths that are true, but yet some people or the way things are put out there, you question if it's truth or just true. Like there's facts, and then there's things that you just believe. And as you live a little longer, and you just start getting different perspective. You start seeing things for what they are versus what you think they may be, and then you don't turn you it's like you don't sell yourself a dream. Instead, you start learning how to understand the reality. And for me, and the for the fact that transforming into the exoticpreneur, you understand the power of creating your own reality based off of the truths and the facts that you are exposed to. If you track with me, put it like this: you if you you know that if you got a skill that can pay bills, it's true that you can go out and make an income, right? Now, is it true that you will be able to make the highest level income based off of the skills that you are able to do? Get what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to, you can, like, you don't have to actually be the highest. It's not guaranteed that you can be financially successful or rich, even though you got skills that can put you in a position to become financial successful or rich. That is like one of those things that as I got older, I started recognizing that, damn, there's a lot of smart people that's broke as fuck. And there's a lot of dumb people that's rich as fuck. But they're not dumb in books. I mean, not in books. They're not dumb in finances and ability in skill. They're just dumb in whatever academics that they're not, highly intelligent in. And all these quote unquote smart people are great with books and literal and logic, but lack the other side of the skills that puts them in a position to be financially ahead. And what was crazy is that the older I get, the more I started recognize like some of the truths of the Bible. And I'm not a Bible scholar. I'm not a Bible scholar. I'm not even a Bible dude like that. I just was raised in that space. So I read it. And I read it a couple times, but not just that. I want to put this. I want to make this. I want to keep it a buck. When I refer to the Bible, I'm referring to multiple books that speak on your spiritual growth, your mental growth, and your emotional, physical, and financial growth. So there are multiple Bibles. I'm not talking about just the Christian Bible or the King James Bible. I'm talking about the Torah. I'm talking about the Quran. I'm talking about all of those different books. I'm talking about the fact that it matter that your your ability to become great it's already been documented. Is what I'm saying. Your ability to be great is already been documented with, as in, it's already it's already blueprints out here that's that's in Bibles that's spiritually based but physically bound. Yet so many of us, operate outside of the realms that create or allow that to happen. Like, where do it comes to a point where you have to recognize that you don't get what you want to get if you don't do the things that needs to be done to make it happen, for it to happen. Like, if you don't go to work, you won't get the monies that you need to afford the lifestyle that you need. But what do I mean by work, though? I mean by providing us time, by either trading your time for dollars or trading your skill for dollars, or both. You, you follow what I'm saying? Like, if you're not willing to put in the work to get the results that you're looking for, how do you expect to get the benefits from that? It's like, who goes out and where does it make sense? And this is, I guess, a double-edged statement. Um, it's like when you have kids. When your kids, you serve your kids all the way up to a point where at some point in their life, they're going to have to start doing shit for themselves. Okay? And you as a parent do everything within your power to give them the best skills, the best mindset, and the best opportunity based off of what you know and what you have access to give them the premise for that. So when they can become of age where they got to start doing shit for themselves, they at least know how or understand this is the blueprint. So at that point, once they go off on their own, you know you did the best you could based off of the situation that was at hand. Now, if they don't turn out the way you expect them to, is that a reflection of you or a reflection on the decisions that they made once they know what's good for them or what's aware of them? That's the question. That's why it's titled The Truest Truths. The truest truth is that there is always going to be a point in your life, just like there's a point in your children's life, where they're going to have to start figuring shit out on their own. And no matter how good you are to them, and I'm not saying that I'm going through anything, I'm just putting it out there in the universe of the thought process. Because I have I have a preteen daughter, and my daughter is awesome. But I'm also recognizing that, you know, I've seen it multiple times in different, by being the oldest of 10 kids, I've seen it, like, experienced it, like, coming up, and then by you seeing it a second time around, it becomes even better. But the thing is when you're managing your business, when you're managing your life, you start seeing how adults operate as children when you're the manager. And when you're the owner, you have to be even more conscientious of how things can be perceived versus what they are based off of their emotional state, just like you would do with kids. Now, I'm not calling grown folks kids. I'm saying the perspective of how we operate according to what makes us, makes our lifestyle, makes our life good, great, or the greatest. Now, what I am willing to ask is that at what point does it make it a conflict when you're held accountable for your actions? That's a question. And this is something I would like for you to comment below if you made it to this point in the video. And as a side note, check out mindbodyandbelief.com, where per the request of a statement that I was put out, that some of the people on my social media wanted to learn marketing structure. So I'm going to teach that entire course on that, and make it available. And if you go to the website, www.mindbodyandbelief, you will actually get some information on that for those that are interested in growing their business by understanding how to develop a good, sound marketing strategy, and understand the principles of marketing structure so that you can keep going while you're sewing. Anyway, back to the statement. You know, while I'm out here doing a hand. Now I'm out here in Southfield right now, and walking through the neighborhood, and it's different. It's very different. Um, there's big yards and a lot of cool stuff, a lot of neatness. Not as crowd, not as loud. It's pretty quiet actually. And it took from leaving these areas. Mind you, I grew up in the hood. And you know when, when you see when you only seen the world in just a impoverished way, the main thing you want to do is not be in a poor space if you can do something about it, especially when we're young. When you're younger and you know that you got all the time in the world to actually achieve, go after your dreams, go after your greatness. It's all there. But yet, when you get into your later part of your life and things don't work out the way you intended it, then there's some type of fear or doubt or false narrative that comes in to start fucking with your head and making you think that just because you didn't get it early when it was supposed to be that prime time because you was out there, you know, living your best life, doing whatever you felt that you needed to be free because now you wasn't under the responsibility of your parents, that is over. And I'm here to tell you, submit, share, that it ain't. Why? Because belief is everything. See, how you believe in your ability to go to the next level is how you will achieve it. If you see yourself as becoming great, then do the things that greats do. Like, what is greatness? For me, what I understood greatness was is providing enough value, enough service, enough opportunity for your next person to benefit at the same level that you it's like, as a parent, and I do it. I guess I think it becomes more apparent and clear as you get older that when you learn better, you start realizing that the people that you serve are representations of where you want your children to be if they take the lessons that you provide to them to heart and give them an opportunity to grow within that space and in that community that you created for them. Like when you're a parent and you provide the house, the home, and you go out and you do what you got to do to make sure that they got the lifestyle that either you were accustomed to or the lifestyle that you never had, that they will go out and achieve and go become better or greater than you're becoming the better version of you. And what I identify or understood greatness is that it's just that very thing, is that when you go out and you putting out works, you're doing a service, you're creating a space that you're looking to identify or or bring together and work with people that can either help you bring out the best version of you in them, and or help you maintain where you're at so that y'all can grow together, because y'all sowing in each other at an equal amount of energy. And this is not a relationship thing in boyfriend girlfriend, this is a relationship in people thing, that y'all acquire a certain level of financial success in connection to the services that y'all put together. Saying it, does that make sense? Like, saying it another way is that it's like it's like making sure that you be a blessing so you can so you can be blessed. Like, when I was coming up, and one of the laws that I had to learn on allowing being uh of getting along or working with people was the fact of the matter that I had to present myself as non-threatening. Even though my aura is not non-threatening, I still had to present myself as non-threatening, because growing up and being aware that you are still a black man in America, That's not a bad thing, but it is an honest thing. It's a true thing. So since we are raised and consistently see information and imagery, that we have to look at each other, if they have not been uh, reprogrammed, if they're still working in a free world before they get reformed, what I'm saying, from being like in situations that force them to actually pay attention, that we don't look at each other as enemies. So for you not to be considered an enemy, you have to present yourself as a friend. Here's the reality that comes with that, though. That means you got to be one too. Other than that, it's going to be considered inauthentic, and you're going to be fake upon it and called out. Like when you're kids, when you say you're going to do something for your kid's going to hold you accountable. True, true. Why? Because you said you was going to do something, and they're going to hit you up, and they're going to hold you up. But how is it when you become an adult and you say that to your fellow person, y'all don't do it, or y'all duck and dodge? Where does the breakdown? Where does the lack of accountability kicks in, or erases himself for each other? Now, that doesn't mean that shit don't happen. That makes it where that even though you said you can do something, but it don't work out like that because of whatever, you know, unforeseeable circumstance, that it doesn't mean that you're inaccountable. Because here's where the sauce comes in. That is when your character and authenticity and being honest about a situation or obstacle or challenge comes in. Because even if they don't know you, but you show and prove that you are a person of valor, a person of character, a person of like, look, it didn't work out, but let me do what I can to make it right. Even if that making it right is, I'm sorry, and I don't know what else to do but to make it right. And it just becomes a difference of perspective. You will have more respect from those people, even if you don't do business with them ever again, because they'll still understand who you are as a person versus the transaction that might go inside. Now, a lot of people get that caught up when you're in your personal relationship, because there is other um, situations that's going on in their emotional health. And that's the second topic I want to touch on real quick. And that's our emotional health, especially our men emotional health. We are not being doing enough due diligence and taking enough accountability of our emotional stability in connection to our mental state. And I'm very proud of a lot of the men that are out here now that are addressing the issue, being honest and open about those concerns, and at least stating it in a form and fashion that opens up the platform for it to exist. And that is important, because in the actual Bible, there was it was a lot of greatness in there. And I'm not a biblical person, but I understand the stories. So understand the context of what I'm talking about is for relatability and understanding that the majority of us is raised Christian, or Christian religion. So that's the best reference I can give in relatability. But in the Bible, in the story of David, when David cheated, when David killed Bathsheba's husband to get them draws, and he knew that it was wrong. And when Bathsheba had the first baby, God killed it, right? Now, y'all know it's in the Bible, so I ain't got to make the story up. This is the stories in the Bible. At that point, God, David felt so much remorse emotionally and mentally, it played on his conscience. So his mental health and his emotional health started conflicting, knowing that he was the chosen one to lead his people because of his covenant with God in the beginning. Remember, he slayed Goliath, right? At that point, this is the part that was sweet. When David realized the emotional anguish of accountability from his own moral conscience came in, Because mind you, he cheated. He was an adulterer. He was a he set niggas up because of his power, because of his power and influence. He set niggas up to get what he wanted. You know somebody like that? When they get to hating on the chick that you got, and they start just throwing death on your name. Anyway, to try and kill her so he can get her. Right. All right. Let's go. Drag back. At that point, he submitted and went into the covenant room where that in there was the point where he was to touch the altar, that altar that technically would kill you if anybody that was unclean or unworthy would touch it. And at that point, he was prepared to die for that because of his mental anguish and the lack of accountability. Now, here's the thing. When David did that, he was in utter submission and full remorse for what he did, to the level where that he was willing to give up himself, give up his whole self, his being, his whole hookup, just to make it right with God, himself, and and the next generation, even if it meant cost him his life. And that right there, just, and this is, mind you, I haven't read this story. I haven't read the book. I haven't read the Bible in years. I haven't read it in about 2 years. But yet that story just came to me and just put it in perspective. How many men are willing, have been willing to go through and submit and give up and allow themselves to be at utter release from the pain and pressure and emotional anguish that they've been going through from coming up, being neglected by your father, possibly mistreated by your mother, possibly mismanaged by the women that you fell in love with, possibly. How many of y'all been able to let it go, give up that emotional anguish that you had on, that you held on to? Like, I go through that shit a lot. I still go through some of that stuff to this day because I'm not immune to the situation. It just now it came in fruition or a full circle of what it really meant when those stories that happened in the Bible and what actually happened versus what the churches be selling y'all, you know, the perspective that it comes from. When you actually learn how to submit and acknowledge that you have emotions, and it's okay to give them up. It's okay to express them. It's okay to account for them. Let them be felt, even if your spouse don't understand it. Okay? And at that point, know that you're not alone in that space. So back to the story, real quick. So when David committed or submitted his whole body, mind, body, and belief over to God as a sacrifice of himself, like he was going to kill himself or kill off himself because of the anguish he felt from that wrong deed he did. He accounted for his deeds by willing to give himself up, and then from there he birthed his second son, which is Solomon, which is known as the wealthiest, most wisest king in the Bible. And you peep game on that. Peep game on that. I can give you another one. I can give you two more. But peep game. We as men, we as leaders, we as bosses, is not our job to boss our women. Because you gotta understand, our women in all things are the boss. They're not the leaders. They're the boss. They're meant to be managers over the things that they're supposed to be managing. We as men are supposed to be leaders. We're supposed to lead them in spaces, in areas that are unfamiliar to them, but also in areas where that y'all can collaborate with each other to make sound, level-headed decisions. Now, knowing this stuff and understand the the sensitivity to do it, it's a whole process. Now, how I was able to apply it in my real life is because I'm a left hand and a level-headed, logical mindset. I failed in the personal relationship space dramatically, not because the women in my life did not love me, not because they did not want to be with me. It's just because they wasn't ready for me. Be honest with you. There's not one woman that I ever dated that we was in a committed relationship that they didn't have anything really bad to say about me, other than the fact of the matter that they wasn't ready and they were still going through their shit. Now that brought a lot of animosity and resentment on my end because I didn't understand why. It took me a minute. All right, it took me a minute to come to the realization or understanding that they weren't ready and I was ready. But now that I'm no longer ready in that space because it created working on me on a whole different level. Where I know I'll be distracted if I got caught up. Fair enough. Is that fair to say? So if y'all ladies catch this, understand where my head is at, where my heart and emotional is at. Like, I'm okay with being okay. So, I protect my energy just like y'all protect y'all's. See, the funny part about that is that, I guess it's one of the things where that, and I'm not saying this about all women. I just noticed a habit or a practice. So it's not if it fits, then it fits, boo boo. You know, but if it don't fit, don't wear it. You feel me? What I'm saying? I always found it was a unique habit or a unique thing where certain types of women or certain women will get their physical state, emotional state, and um, physical and emotional state back in order after they destroy or mismanage a good man versus when they was with a toxic, disruptive relationship, or male or female relationship. But I really only deal with the heterosexual thing. But the relationship problems happen in both entities anyway. But the thing is that how is it that it was more focused on getting your health and your body in order or getting it back in order after you're spent more years alone than it was when y'all was in a promoted or progressive relationship. Like, it didn't make sense. Like, I've met and I'm still continue to see more women that are now focused on getting their body back in order, even if they're willing to go under the knife for their own, and I get it, for their own emotional stability, their own self-confidence, their own feeling like their own created their own self-worth, versus when I know for a fact that every woman has experienced at least one, if not two, willing vessels that was willing to submit and cater to them in a fashion where that they would have been okay to do it for themselves, but not because of themselves. It wasn't a standard that they would still be in a stable situation now. And I just didn't understand that. It took me a minute to kind of look at it because, you know, in the Bible, they always talk about that virtuous woman. And I noticed in that virtuous woman, everything that she claimed to be is our boss ladies now, except for the fact that they ignore the fact that they still cater to their dude. As the man submits themselves to God or submits themselves to the Creator to be led with clear wisdom and clear wisdom and sound understanding on how to maneuver based off of the abilities to be accountable with character, integrity, and responsibility. I know, right? I know, right? Yeah. Mind, body, and belief. Go ahead and work on your marketing structure. You can check that out at mindbodyandbelief.com. Go ahead and sign up for this class. It's coming up September 8th. You can follow me on Instagram if you catch this live and catch this replay. I know it's a little long, but when you catch this on YouTube and you see the replay on Facebook Live in the thing, um, just just know that we out here, and we there's a lot more of us out here willing and working to change the narrative, to promote greatness, to promote unity within our culture. If you're African and you're looking for an upstanding, solid, intelligent black man, holla at your kid, Nigerian, Liberian, holla at your boy. I'm with stuff. Let's go ahead and do some world class global hookup. I'm just talking shit, man. I'm aware. I'm conscious. You know, it's just one of the things where that I need y'all all to stay healthy. Let's get wealthy. I'm done with my walk. Don P out.